depending at what height the engines fail, it becomes catastrophic if it fails immediately at takeoff.
The protocol that has been set, the Mayday communication to the ATC.
ATC has no time and no possibility of giving any support at all. There cannot be any emergency worse than this. There is nothing that can be done.
Possible reason for the crash.
It can only happen if the fuel to the engines is shut down. My personal view is that the fuel was contaminated with water. The black box will give the exact moment the fuel shut off.
Commander Bhatia, welcome to Midday.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be with you.
Commander, while flight statistically remains one of the safest modes to travel, the recent crash of Air India Dreamliner has sent chills down our spine. So, when does air travel really become unsafe?
Air travel will continue and is the safest means of travel statistically. The only time it can become unsafe is if the maintenance or the design of the aircraft or an error, which is called human error, occurs. So, depends on what is the scenario. Presently, all airlines in the world go by a very, very safe flying system, and they have a safety management system on board, which is as per the DGCA as well as FAA as well as EASA guidelines. So, safety systems are paramount in all the airlines at present. Unless a design issue of the aircraft or a maintenance issue or a failure on any human, whether the pilot or the maintenance crew occurs, it becomes unsafe. Otherwise, flying per se is the safest means of travel.
Commander, in the recent case, the last words of the pilot were thrust not achieved, Mayday. So, what are the possible reasons of thrust not being successful during takeoff?
If you had seen recently, about a few years ago, there was a accident in America where both the engines failed and they landed in the Hudson River. Right now, depending at what height the engines fail, it becomes catastrophic if it fails immediately at takeoff. And that is exactly what is the case with the Air India flight taking off from Ahmedabad. It had not yet even gone to 600 feet when both engines, or before that, both engines had failed.
Mayday is a call to the ATC that it is the situation of utmost emergency, right? The protocol that has been set, the Mayday communication to the ATC.
There cannot be any emergency worse than this. That is a civil aviation aircraft taking off, and just as it leaves the ground, if both engines fail, it is catastrophic. There is nothing that can be done.
In such a situation, what are
There's no way out.
ATC actually to intervene?
ATC has no time and no possibility of giving any support at all to the captain of the aircraft or the pilots in command. It's nothing. ATC can do nothing.
Commander, as per the footage and the available data, what do you think could be the possible reason for the crash?
Both engines failing. The options are you have bird hit in both engines at the same time. No, it did not happen. And electrical failure in both engines at the same time. Not possible. Both engines shutting down at the same time is what happened. It can only happen if the fuel to the engines is shut down. One, that is, fuel shuts off by itself for some reason. Two, it has got contaminated fuel. A contamination of fuel can occur if certain checks by the people who supply the fuel, compulsory checks which are supposed to be carried out by the airline staff with regards to the fuel in the bowser, has not been done. Actually, my personal view is that the fuel was contaminated with water. It has happened previously. Luckily, in the occasion which happened more than 35, 40 years ago, the aircraft did not take off. The aircraft was waiting to take off when both engines failed. This happened at Bombay. This was a possibility, or an electronic failure, computer system failure, which led to shutting down of the fuel to the engine. Either of these two. So there can be only, and I don't believe that the electronic system failed at such a crucial moment of time.
Let's talk about the hottest talking point. Boeing is now under scrutiny more than ever. How is the safety related track record of Boeing as per you? No, sometime back, a whistleblower had actually revealed that employees forced parts to fit together. So Boeing has had this reputation.
There are some issues with Boeing in the recent past. Recent in the sense, ever since the 737 MAX issues have started. Over and above, the basic concept at Boeing is a little suspicious. The basic issues, if you have been able to catch up with some of the interviews and the Senate hearings of Boeing, you would come to know that there seemed to be a loss in the terms of safety management at the airlines. I believe it is under the cloud.
Commander, just some time back you mentioned about the engine failure, right? Dual engine failure. So, how rare is that on a Boeing 787?
I believe this is the first 787 that has ever crashed. So, in it's 11-year-old aircraft, as you are aware, and I don't think there is any issue with the aircraft per se. It's unlikely that any design issue or safety issue has manifested in this case.
Now that the black box has been recovered, where do you see the investigation going forward?
Well, the black box will give the exact moment the fuel shut off or the fuel stopped going into, or fuel was maybe going in. We will come to know if the fuel pressure continued to show and yet the engine switched off. That means it most probably was contaminated fuel. The accident investigation, when it is carried out, will go into depth of actually checking every pipeline which is going into the engine, whether it was carrying fuel or whether it was a contaminated fuel. So hopefully that will give a clear picture as to what is the cause of this accident, whether it was a failure of the electronics which shut off the fuel, or whether somebody inadvertently switched off the fuel pumps, or it was contamination.
So we are hearing more and more news of flights being delayed and stalled due to technical snag these days. So is it like news like this is getting more and more coverage, or is it like the quality of safety standards are degrading, or the airlines are becoming more and more cautious? What do you think?
Yes, to a certain extent, cautious is agreeable, understandable. In my opinion, there is one issue which needs insight and foresight from all parties concerned, and that is aviation is booming in India. The number of aircrafts are increasing. The staff to maintain and pilot these aircrafts are short. We are going to face a shortage. We are already facing a shortage of experienced maintenance and experienced crew. I think one of the possibilities is that we've got a large number of defense, air force, and naval technical personnel from the aviation cadre, and they must be taken into the airlines. They would have a vast experience, which would aid. There are a lot of people who are retiring. So maybe if the airlines took in a lot of these seniors who retired from the services, from both the defense as well as from the Air Force, Army, and Naval Aviation, they would probably have a lot of skilled workers or skilled personnel back in it. I've seen a lot of Air Force pilots, naval pilots are joining the airlines, and that is a good thing. And similarly, it should be there for also the maintenance staff.
Thank you so much, Commander Bhatia, for your time, for your practical solution to actually make to make flight travel much more safer.
Thank you very much, Katyani. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.